So I'm Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hi. What are you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a name?
I'm AJ. I'm AJ.
Just checking.
I'm AJ. Yeah. So this is gonna be a no filter, just faith. Something that we are both thinking to sort of deliver, not just like our message, but like to introduce who we are and create an opportunity for us to sort of reach out to people like us, so veterans, um, people who are in faith.
Veterans. Maybe somebody needs help in recovery.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody needs help with Jesus. Maybe a veteran needs help.
Surprisingly enough.
Maybe. I mean, in the same area. I mean, we in the same place, but that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So, AJ, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What really drew you to the faith and the recovery and the military?
Okay.
Share that with me a little bit.
Yeah. So if we go back to the military, or like way back. So when I was a kid, I didn't have faith. I wasn't really introduced to God. My family was more on the agnostic side. Didn't really have. We believed in God, but weren't really like churchgoers. Didn't understand whole Jesus concept to anything. But as I grew up, I didn't have him in my life. And probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, I got my heart broken real good by a Christian lady, and she, as we broke up, her comment to me was, "We're not evenly yoked." She was a believer, and she was there. We couldn't be together because you don't believe Jesus is our savior. Do you believe that? And I was like, so no, no, I don't know who that is. But that sparked something in my head that I had to find out, like who's this Jesus and what's going on. So during this breakup, I was real mad at myself, and I decided to take a drive to sort of release that like tension, right? Just to find a way to blow things off. So I'm driving, and I just go after and replaying the conversation, yelling at myself, a true psychopath. Just yelling at myself, getting all mad, and I played the moment of like, you couldn't pray with me, you can't pray with me. It's what she was one of the things she said to me, and I was like, I'm just supposed to pray like out loud to myself, or like what I understand now is God, right? I was like, just supposed to pray, and like instantly like we're just numb, tingly all over my body, like that's the answer. Like pray, like that's what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm like, what's that? Like let's go into it. So I dove in, and as we know, God can move very quick at times, and I feel like that's what happened as I was introduced to him. I started learning who Jesus was and the great things that he did, and how that helped my life, and it just quickly moved in and just sort of has taken over everything. Like now, I went from not knowing who Jesus was to like that's the center of everything I do in my life is Jesus first. Jesus is in the middle of everything. I tend to preach on that a little bit. Is like it's not that he's just first, but he's part of everything that I do. I don't make a decision without thinking of him first, or thinking of like, is this what God wanted to do? Can I find this in the Bible? Can I pray on this and feel a calm over it? Um, so that's how faith became in, and I just really grew into finding who God was.
So, like, did God find you, or did you find God in the middle of the mess?
Yeah,
What would you think? What would
I
you say?
I think that so my personal belief is God's always there. Like so it's not I guess it's not a belief. That's fact, right? Like God's always there. I think we say that we found God, but it's really just when we finally got beat up enough to start listening. Like I guess like the best thing for me to understand it would be like when you as a kid keep touching that hot stove.
Mm.
Us veterans, hard-headed people, I keep touching it, right? It'll cool down. It's like the spot I touched, it's not as hot. So I think it's like until you get to that point where you're not gonna touch it anymore, and you're gonna start listening and not taking this world on your own. So I believe God is there. He just lets us create our own mess and live in it as long as. So I was living in that mess. I didn't know him, but he was there. And if you look back, I could see his presence in my life the whole way through. Like, went to 2 tours in Afghanistan. I could see his presence even in that time of areas where I probably shouldn't have been as safe as I was. Like, there's no reason I walked out unscathed, but I did. I'm fine, And I think those are like the moments where you're like, that's God's presence. So he's there. I think it's just finally enough time where I'm like, oh. I gotta start listening. Like I gotta open my mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Open my eyes to what you do. Yeah, about yourself.
I think for me, like I was raised in the church when I was young. My mom took me to church every Sunday. I could, as far back as I can remember when I was little, we went to the Catholic church. And when I was about 9 years old, my mom wanted me to be an altar. So she had me sign up at the church to be an altar boy. And I'm thinking to myself, why? But I remember her saying to me, I asked my mom, I said, why did you want me to do this? We were eating dinner and she said, every time you sit with me, you recite everything the priest says. Everything he says, you say.
Okay.
And I just want you to be stronger in your faith. I said, okay. So I was at an altar boy for roughly about 9 years. And in that journey, I learned a lot of God and Jesus. I had several issues just because I kept being told what I know now. Then they told me there were three separate people: God, Jesus, Holy Spirit.
Okay. Okay.
Not the divinity, not the three in one.
Yeah.
And so as I got older as an adult, it became confusing. But then I accepted it as what I was being taught and what I knew, and it was great to be able to have that, to have something that I didn't know, that I could rely on, that actions and circles around God. But I'm still confused by that. Do we circle God or does God circle us? So as I was growing up, I just kept asking myself that question. So I was an altar boy at the church. I volunteered as a Boy Scout as well. I signed up for that, and we did a lot of functions at the church. Raised money, did a food drive, and would clean the church and do everything surrounded by the church. My mom was in the bingo hall. Like, we were always at the church. I felt like that's all we did. And as I got older, I kept going to church with my mom. I stopped the altar boy thing once I got to high school, and then I ended up going to a Catholic high school as well. My mom wanted me to stay locked in, stay plugged in, and that really kind of helped me through my high school years. Not saying that they were all perfect, because there was a lot of rough ends. If you know, like I know, most people who go to private school, they're probably naughtier than the kids who go to public school. So that didn't really balance out too well for me, and that's kind of where I went. And the interesting part is, the further I got to high school, the less I went to church with my mom, and the further I got away from God. And that's when I noticed my life started to go wrong. But I didn't think to turn back to God. I just kept saying, it'll just get better.
Yeah.
It'll just get better. It'll just get better. And honestly, it never did until later on in life. And I just kind of made a mess. And that's kind of like my small journey into faith.
Okay.
In that small way. I mean, later on, I realized and found God in my foot. I'll get into that as we go along.
Oh yeah, hang on. I feel that's probably going to be a big portion of all this. Yeah, yeah. So one of my favorite things that you say quite often, and I think that's it's something we'll hit on quite a bit here too. Is you tend to say a lot of, I don't know, or anything. I'm not the greatest at this faith thing. Or, like, every time you say it, I'm like, you're so wrong. you're so much better than you are. And that sentence alone is sort of a shining light of how great you are. Yeah, so we'll dive into that. What I wanted to get in a little bit more, because it's not just faith that brings us here, that we have in common. It's the military thing. So what is it that made you join the military?
Oh, man. So listen, roughly around 2002, this is just a year after 9/11, and I didn't join the military because I wanted to be patriotic and back for my country. I needed a job and a swift boot in my butt. That's the true story. I was my ex-wife, or the woman I was married to then, was pregnant. I was working in a bar, DJing and bartending, and as you know, those kind of jobs don't have insurance or assurance.
Yeah.
And I needed to do something fast. And my cousin had actually joined the Army, and he ended up in the 82nd Airborne. He went to jump school. And when he came home from jump school, he had this look in his eye, and I was like, I want whatever he drank, ate, or whatever they did to him, I want them to do it to me too.
Right.
So he said, go see my recruiter. So I went and seen the recruiter. I had no idea what I was doing. I said, listen, if I'm going to do this, I need to leave tomorrow. She was like, you serious? I said, yeah. She said, okay. And I signed up. I had no idea what I was doing. And off I went into the Army.
Piece of paper.
And it was so crazy because my family and friends were like, man, it's so great. You're so patriotic to fight for your country. I was like, no, I need a job. I need insurance. She's pregnant. I like care. They didn't get it. And I didn't get it either, because I'm going to tell you something I don't think I shared with you. I went through basic training twice. So I got all the way to the 13th week. I got hurt. We were on the obstacle course. I messed up. My legs swelled up. I had a bunch of blood clots. It was a great time. And they sent me to the hospital. So after that, I got out. They put me in a medical unit. And I was hanging out with this kid, and he was just in my ear about, we should just go AWOL. the Army doesn't need us. They're going to get rid of us anyway. He convinced me that that was a good idea. So they sent us to the PX one day, just like a free day. Go eat something, go buy something, go enjoy yourselves, and we'll pick you up in a little bit. So they dropped us off, and we went in there. We bought civilian clothes. We threw our uniforms in the garbage can, and off we went. We went. We took a cab to the Greyhound station, and he went his way. I went my way. I got home, and I went right to the bar. Right, it was something I was used to doing. We'll talk about more about that later, but I got in the bar and I was sitting there and I kept looking around. I was like, all the same people that I left that I was worried about, we were having fun without me, are still there. They're still in the same place. They didn't go anywhere. Yeah. And so I decided to turn myself in at Fort Monmouth in New Jersey. So I get there and the MP's like, no, come back tomorrow. And I told him myself, I went AWOL. I'm telling you that. And he didn't register any of this. He was a young private. And I was like, okay. So I went back, and I went back the next day. So the next day, his sergeant was there, and I said to him, this is exactly what I said to him. I went AWOL, I'm turning myself in. He drew his weapon. He said, put your hands behind your back. I was like, wait a minute, that's not what he did.
I like his response better.
So they cuff me, they take me down to the office down there, and I'm sitting in the cell, and then literally within 24 hours, they flew me from Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, back to Kentucky and Fort Knox.
Okay.
So when I get back there, this is the craziest thing. I get back there, and I'm like, I definitely don't want to do this Army thing. I knew this was a mistake. I knew I was going to get in trouble. This wasn't going to work. I get there, and this MP jumps in my face. He's like, you're a piece of, and I was like, whoa. And he was like, go sit in that room. So I sat in that room, and believe it or not, this sergeant, who I've never seen again, this is when we talk about, you had mentioned earlier about God has always been there. When we look back at a story, and then I honestly believe, I've looked him up. I can't find him.
Okay.
I can't even tell you that he actually even exists. All I know is his name was Sergeant Caswell. That was his name. And I can't guarantee that he even existed because he came, he goes, I'm going to show you what the Army actually looks like. He goes, I'll be by to pick you up in the morning. Let's go for a run. Okay. I was by in the morning. Sure enough, we go for a run. And he runs me through where at the time all the active duty members lived and worked. And he took me just through PT, through the air. And he was like, Steve Ryan, this is the real Army. That stuff you're doing in basic training is temporary. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And he sent me back to the medical unit, and honestly, I never seen him again. Never seen him after that, but he had me focus on wanting to stay in the Army, wanting to grow, be a better soldier, a better person. I owe my career.
Introduction to Brian and AJ, two lost veterans finding a passion through God and faith and celebrate recovery.
I don't even think he really existed because I never seen him again. Like he dropped me off and poof, he was gone. Right. So that's kind of like my journey through the Army. And then I deployed a few times, but yeah, we'll talk more.
That's awesome.
Sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I also not patriotic. I also didn't join because I was like, I love America, but I wasn't like, I was like, yeah, America. I joined. So funny enough, I had a collection of friends who all of them were like, we're going to the Army. We're going to the Army. We're to sign up. We're to do this. We're going to the Army. And if I remember correct, I was the fifth one. And every time they bid, we're going. I'm like, nah, that's what you guys think. I'm out. Like, I'm not doing that stuff. I'm good. I took a job. So I ended up graduating high school like half a year early. And I took a job at a foundry, Eagle Alloy, here in Muskegon. I took a job there, and I hated it so much.
I don't see you working at foundry. Well, go ahead.
That was terrible. That was terrible. I didn't fit in. Like my third day there, a dude threw a chunk of clay at the fan. It blew like just dark soot over me. I had it like caked in my teeth and everything. I'm like, this is not the job for me. And I guess some other troubles with some moving of products and stuff like that. You know, products. So I get in a little bit of trouble heading that way, and I'm like, man, this just isn't what I want for my life. And I ran into my grandpa, who was like, he's just a shining light of my life. Like, that's the man I want to be. I want to be like that man. And I remember running into him, and he was like, he almost looked like let down by me, and I was like, oh, like I'm not making like terrible life choices, but I'm starting to, you know, like I'm right at that verge of like, there's going to be some bad moves happening if I don't change what I'm doing. Drinking a lot. I'm starting to get more into the life of Muskegon, if you will. So I crazy enough, I run into him, and like I just felt like I let him down. Looking at myself, I'm like, what do I do with my life? And I forgot to check my gas gauge. I had an '85 Dodge Caravan. I didn't check my gas gauge. And I ran out of gas at the mall in front of the recruiter station. And I had to make a call. And this was like cell phones were just a thing. Like it was still Nextel chirps.
Yes.
The good ones, right?
Those are great. They're getting those back.
Yeah, they should. The walkie-talkie feature was all good. So I had a cell phone, but it wasn't. I didn't have money to pay for it, so it wasn't on. So you go to the recruiter office.
Wait, did you wear it on your hip?
No, that'd be a lot cooler if I did.
I'm sorry.
No, I wish I would feel back cool. So I go into the recruiter's office, and he was like, "You ready to go?" And I didn't really get along with the dude. I was like, "No, not really." He said, "Well, we could do this, and we could make this amount of money." And I was like, "Yeah, like whatever. Like, well, get me out of here." I don't know. He was like, "Yeah, no problem." And I was like, "Sounds great. Let's go." Like that's all it took. And I was like, "Okay, as long as I can leave." And I love this recruiter saying like every bit of a recruiter. Like now that I think back, like what a recruiter is, my recruiter was every bit of like what you would assume a recruiter would be. So I walk into this place and I take the ASVAB, and I got a really good score on the ASVAB somehow. No idea how. I got a really good score, and he's like, "You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want." And I was like, "Well, that doesn't help because I don't know what I want to do." You know, like if I had an idea of what I wanted to do, I wouldn't be in a recruiter's office. Right? So I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. He says, "Do you like to fly?" "No." "You want to blow things up?" "Not one bit." "No, I don't want to do that." He said, "You want to kill people?" "No." Like, no. Why would I want to do with you that?
Who does that?
Right? He's like, "That you shoot guns?" I've never shot a gun. Like, well, no, not really. Like, no. What are you here for? I don't know, dude. What are we here for? Like, I don't. So my grandpa told me not to go in. First of all, don't go in was his first choice. We see if you are, do a job that benefits you on the outside. So I looked at the recruiter, said, "What benefits me on the outside?" And he was like, "Intelligence, communications, and I think scout was like the third one."
I get that. Don't do that.
Yeah. That's not that one.
That equates to a janitor in real life. But go ahead.
You can get security guards.
That's the highest paying job.
So I'm like, okay. And he's like, "Well, what's intelligence do?" And he's like, "Well, it's a lot of office work." And I said, "I'm out." But thanks. My man looked at me and said, "Do you like radios?" And as I say, like, I have a high ASVAB score. That's going to disprove that. I go, "Like in a car?" Like radios, like in a car? And he's like, sort of lets me have it. And I'm like, "Yeah, I like music." "You listen to like music on the radio?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like that. That's it. I was like, "That's the job. I can install a radio. Let's go."
He gave you the used cars guy.
It was so good. Used cars told me. I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And I went to go back out. And so I took that job, and I had like a week before I had to go to Chicago for the final MEPS before they send you. So I went to Benning. So they send you from Chicago to Georgia. Just stayed in Georgia. I think what is it, Atlanta, Georgia. Then they bus you down to Benning.
Okay.
But I had about a week to go, and I backed out. I went to a shooter, and I was like, "Yeah, it's not for me, man. Like, I'm just not into it. I want to get yelled at. I grew up in a pretty rough household, so I just don't want to get yelled at anymore. I'm good. So then I went back out. He's like, okay, do me a favor." And he's like, "Come back tomorrow." Like, okay. So I walked in, and when I walked back into the recruiter station, there was like this super attractive female, probably like mid-20s, like just skin-tight uniform, just flirting up a storm with me.
They took you.
And I signed the paperwork. They took you. Let's go. She's like, "We're going to go to dinner. We'll talk about this. We'll go to dinner. And then we'll go from there." And at dinner, I signed the paperwork. You got it.
So like a sales manager in the car.
Right.
You swooped over to close the deal.
Yep, took the deal. Go sign it up. Bought the insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty
Yep. Got the contract. So good. Yep. Yeah, so I didn't go in for I didn't do the patriotic treats, and
Right.
when you're in basic, did they sit you guys down and like what made you come in, like give like your background a little bit?
No, I wish they had no communication with us. Every time they communicated with us, they were screaming and pointing in the direction we needed to go. I don't think they ever asked us seriously like what we wanted to do.
Okay.
I just remember just right before graduation when I went back, um, them just saying, "Hey, you listen, you're going here, you're going here, you're going here." That's it. There was real no. I wish they would have.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really wish they would have.
Yeah. So they did for us, and this is like how this is the funny story. I was like, it's great of how different I was compared to like your traditional soldier. Um, so they went through our last week. So we're going through doing the whole ceremony, getting your class A's all like decked out and squared away and all that kind of stuff, learn how to march through and all that stuff that you do at the end of basic training, and like sit us all down and they're like, "Hey, let's talk about what brought you in." And like I'm S. My Stork's my last name, so like I'm at the end.
Mhm.
Like so, we start at the beginning, and everybody has such an amazing patriotic story of like when the Twin Towers went down, I knew I had to fight, and there was this dude called Steve Stevenson. Let's play common name. Really common. Sorry, bro. So he was I think he was like mid-30s back then, because like I felt old at 19. Like I felt I was older. He was in his mid-30s.
Mhm.
Old dude. So mid-30s, like 6'5", 6'6", just a super tall, lanky, not coordinated dude. But he comes in with this full, heartfelt, like drama-filled answer of his, and he's right before me. And he's like, "I joined the army because we need to fight for this country after what they did to us," and his tears coming down his eyes. And I'm like, "Oh no." like I gotta follow this, and he walks through, and it's full waterworks. He's in there, and he's like, "Yeah, like patriotic stuff is to be cool. What about you, Stark?" I was like, "I didn't want to sell drugs."
You killed the moment.
Yeah. I don't want to sell drugs. Sorry.
That's great. You killed the
Yeah, dude, the whole thing was gone. They're like, "Oh, let's move on," and like nobody even finished after me. You just like cut it right there. Like just cut it. Like,
So you killed the moment, and everyone else's opportunity.
yeah.
To go.
I give you there's only like 4 other people, but but yeah, nobody gets.
Never got this. Have to share. There's probably everybody has. Yeah, they thought I was an idiot. I think I'm an idiot.
That's what I was like, dude, I'm not busted. It was such a good story though, and he was so heartfelt and like just.
I wish I'd have liked him more. I wasn't a big fan of him.
If you're watching, we're gonna really want to hook up with you. Give us the all hook up.
Right, dude.
Really? Oh man! So when I got to the army, it's not funny like that. That was I feel bad for those 4 people. We should find the 4 people and bring them on and let them share their talk. Remember, it's not the Winnie right out of your room.
Oh, that's not the first time.
No,
They went through the whole basic training with me. I suck.
So you watch Full Metal Jacket? I think everybody in the military.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket. Yeah. So that's what I envisioned my drill sergeants to be.
Oh, yeah.
This is the only thing I had to think about with the army was like, because my cousin wouldn't tell me anything. I had already left, so it is what it is.
Sure.
I get there, and like this dude's walking around. His belly's bigger than mine is now, and he's just running around, not yelling, not doing anything, just asking if we want to drink soda, if we want some pizza, and I'm like, if this is the army, I'm all the way in.
Yeah.
Like this is nothing like TV. Let's go. So they say, okay, today's your pickup day. I said, well, where are we going? They said to basic training. I said, I thought that's where we were.
Oh yeah.
So they take us, they cut our hair. I already had a bald head, so I guess I cheated the system. You know, I was already balding then. So they shaved my head a little bit more, gave me some stuff, and they made us all line up in formation, you know, and out of the corner of my eye, I see these well-dressed soldiers rounding the corner. And they're coming like a steamroller. They've clean cut brown hats, and they are coming to destroy us. The dude walked up to, I'll never forget, big guy, probably 6'9", 240. He probably was ripped underneath his top there. And he said, "Oh, you're crying? Oh." See, my eyes tear because I don't have any tear ducts. So they're rolling down my face. I'm in Kentucky in like February. And it's cold, so my eyes are tearing. This dude is screaming in my face, and he's saying all kinds of ungodly things. And I could not imagine saying that to another human.
Yeah.
And all I remember is he told me to run before he does something naughty to me. And I thought, oh my goodness, I better go. So I stopped running. I kept thinking, what did I do? What did I do? But everything was moving so fast, I couldn't figure it out. So we get to the barracks, and they line us up outside, and they said, "We call this Disney." I said, "This is not Disney." I'm telling myself, this is not Disney. We might be little mice, but this is not Disney. It's lies. He said, "Dump all our stuff on the floor," and they said, "You're going to put in that bag what we tell you, and that's it. Everything else, gone." I said, "That's not fair. That's my stuff." What about I said this. I don't know if anyone said this while you were there, but they had an amnesty box. They came around late.
Yeah.
And they said, "Whatever you don't want, put in here." So he gave me the box. He put the box in front of me, and I said, "Okay." So I picked up the cigarettes. I said, "I can still smoke these, right?" And he smacked them out of my hand. They like went way over there. And I thought that was probably a bad.
No?
I guess that's not an end thing to do. So they get us upstairs, and I'm thinking, and now here's the crazy part. So just a quick backstory is I grew up poor. So I grew up in the projects in an apartment. Like we had a 2-bedroom apartment, but the cats my mom had to have lived in the bedroom. I slept in the living room on a rollaway cot.
Okay.
So I never had to make my bed. I just closed the thing, and that was it. Every day I closed it. That was it. So we could watch TV. If it was open, you could watch TV. So I closed it.
Yeah.
And so in the Army, they get us upstairs and we'll teach you how to make your bed. And I was like, whew, somebody better, because I have no idea what I'm going to do. Well, that was right around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It took till about 7, 8 o'clock p.m. for me to figure out how to make those hospital quarters.
Okay.
I'd never been yelled at and degraded so much in my life just to think about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was.
This is all it's gonna go.
Yeah, I said this is the beginning. So that night I cried in the bed. I didn't want any, everyone was sleeping on top of their bed because they had heard from their relatives that you don't want to undo the bed because you have to do that all again. So I made it real flat and I laid up there with no blanket, freezing, because that's what they said to do. And I'm crying, I'm cold, and I just wanted to go home.
Yes.
So I don't really know how I made it through, but I'm glad I did. I did it. Yeah, very unpatriotically. I love my country. I love the soldiers. I support the veterans.
100%.
But then in the beginning, I wasn't.
No, not one bit. No, I was just a dirtbag teacher. No, not one bit. Yeah.
No, and that's the reason. Like later on, like really just couldn't believe it. Like, how did I get so disconnected? I was so far away that I didn't even know why God would even encounter me.